Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Redskins Talk TV, and this is your host, Dre. Our team, we finally got our first win against the Oakland Raiders today. It wasn't the walk-away type of score that you would think it was. We did win by 10 points, and the Oakland Raiders, they're not a bad team. They're not a team that you're just going to walk over. And I guess it's because the way our offense has been operating, we're not really walking over on anyone. So it took a collective effort from both the offense and the defense to make this one happen. Now, let's go ahead and talk about a few things. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people have observed the biggest thing on offense is the fact that we're really not moving the ball that much. We're not getting a lot of the third down conversions, and that's something that's still hurting us even through 4 games. We got a tough game against the Dallas Cowboys after our bye week, and we really need to seal shit up because their defense is pretty stout. They didn't really show it today. I'm really glad that the Chargers won. But fuck the Cowboys. I want to talk about my team. That's why this is called Redskins Talk TV. Now, getting the conversions, it gives us a better opportunity to get down the field. And along with the conversions, I also want to talk about the fact that near the end of the first quarter, when we went into that no-huddle offense, it was a thing of beauty. We were getting the ball and matriculating down the field. I usually say that a lot on my videos, but we were getting the ball from one point to another. We got to the end zone, and unfortunately we stalled because of the intentional grounding call that put us from the 5-yard line back to the 19, 20-yard line, and then we had to settle for the 3 points. But I really think that something like that should be implemented more often because it keeps the defense off balance. It prevents them from being able to call in their substitutes, and when it all matters the most, it does force the defense, if they want to have the right package or the right personnel in place, to use the timeouts. So one of the things I noticed in the past is Peyton Manning. He was really good about quick snapping the ball when the team was making a substitution, and it would be an easy way in order for him to get an extra 5 yards because they had 12 men or more on the field as far as the defense. So something like that, I think Kyle Shanahan and Mike Shanahan should be more savvy in that aspect. Take advantage of every opportunity to find a flaw or some sort of mistake that can be made by the opposing team to give us an advantage. Now, in terms of that, also getting down in the red zone, we had to use one of our timeouts because it was very loud. RG3 couldn't hear, so he had to call a timeout, go to the sideline, get the play, and then come back and try to execute. I think for something like that, I know he's a young quarterback, but give him the flexibility to lead the team. That's why we have him as a quarterback, even though he didn't play in the preseason, and he is our starting quarterback since we drafted him high and gave up so much for him. But give him the flexibility to call his plays in those certain situations, just like last season when his mic went out on his helmet and he called some plays and we ended up getting that game winner against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But something like that will help the growth of his leadership and the trust between him and his teammates. Lastly, just trying to eliminate the penalties. We had some dumb penalties as always. It didn't really haunt us too much like it did on the previous games, but it does hurt us all the same because whenever we have some positive momentum, there could be a penalty that holds us back, and that's just for the offensive side. I'll talk about the defense in a brief moment. But also turnovers. We really only had that one crucial turnover by Logan Paulson fighting for the extra yards, and I think he should have just taken himself down since he already made contact with a couple of defenders. But by fighting for the extra yardage, he kind of bobbed his arm out, didn't really secure the ball, and ended up getting stripped. Didn't really have a negative impact because the Raiders, they weren't able to capitalize on it. So I'm really thankful for that. Would have made the game a lot closer, and we all hate those close games, especially on those games where we should beat the team. We got talent, more talent on paper, but on the field it just doesn't show. Now, going over to the defense, one of the things that I noticed, still having problems in terms of tackling. I'm seeing a lot more tackling, and it's something especially for London Fletcher. I know he's a veteran player, 38 years old, but there's been a lot of times, each and every game so far, we've seen where he's muffed on a play or he just bounces off of a defender. That's very uncharacteristic of him. I'm not going to try to attribute that to age because he's got that veteran leadership, he's got that experience, but for some reason, he's just not getting the right angle and he's missing a lot of key tackles that can stop that extra yardage, most of which could prevent the opposing team from getting that first down. And that's also happening with our other linebackers as well as our safeties. So hopefully next week when they're doing a game plan for the Dallas Cowboys, Coach Hazlitt can really address that. The defensive line coach, the linebacker coach, the defensive backs coach, that all needs to be addressed because we're going to go up against a lot of weapons against the Dallas Cowboys. And for me, living in South Texas, I don't want to have to hear any bullshit from the Cowboy fans if it's a close game or they end up beating us, because I can guarantee for all the shit that I talk, they're going to bring it back at me 100-fold. Now, also, getting the pressure, we had some pretty decent pressure, but once again, this is Matt Flynn. We got a lucky break, not an easy break, but we got a lucky break today because Terrell Pryor, he was still struggling with the symptoms from the concussion, so he didn't play. It would have been like playing RG3 with our defense because he can get out of the pocket. He can do a lot of things like Russell Wilson does with the read option plays, playing from the pistol formation. So by him being on the sideline, Matt Flynn, he's more of the classic pocket passer. So we were able to get a turnover and the score on that, and we got a lot of pressure, 6 or 7 sacks, which I'm really proud. One of those made by Ryan Kerrigan was able to force a fumble. We recovered that, and we ended up getting a touchdown off of that. So other than that, I saw some very positive things from our defense, but once again, we're not going to be going up against that kind of defense. The Raiders' defense really isn't that bad, but it's going to be a much tougher defense the way Marty Kiffin runs his defense for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, we will see when we come back from our bye week with that game, but hopefully it's going to be one of those where we can still put ourselves in contention to be tied, or better yet, take the lead for the NFC East. The Dallas Cowboys, they lost today, so I'm very pleased about that. There's plenty of time left in the season, which I keep trying to remind the Cowboy fans as well as the Redskins fans who are starting to panic. Now that we've gotten 4 games out of the way, we have 12 games left. 12 opportunities to better our position in the NFC East and the NFC, especially if we want to make the postseason. But every game counts, and the best part is, at least the best recommendation for me is just to take one game at a time. So most importantly, just consider that the Dallas Cowboys are next. We'll worry about any other team after that, but we've got a tough team with the Dallas Cowboys. Looking forward to a victory. I'm going to make my pregame analysis by the end of next week, and then the postgame analysis after the game is played, and I'm looking forward to that victory. But if you like this video, I hope that you definitely leave some comments. Also, like, subscribe, and share. And to my Redskins family, hail to the Redskins.